Alright guys, this video popped up on my feed. I started watching a couple seconds of it. This actually came out a couple weeks ago, and while I was watching it, I was reading some of the comments, and it seems like maybe the takes weren't so good. Obviously, he's entitled to his own opinion, but since this was a pretty popular video, I just wanted to take a look at what he said. And if you're thinking about quitting Dragon Traveler, at least you have all of the information before you make a decision.
Yeah, boy.
One of the reasons I really enjoyed Dragon Traveler for the first couple of days was there was a ton of content to do in the game.
Yes. Every day, new stuff is unlocking. More power progression is dopamine rush. Yes.
Really enjoyed all the other game modes besides main story until
Okay.
it dawned on me. All the content feels pretty much the exact same thing, and all these game modes are sort of just recolorizations of the same thing to bloat the game up and make it feel like it's filled to the brim with content.
Fair point. However, I personally like how every mode might be a reskin of the same gameplay loop, which is already pretty satisfactory. It gives certain limitations to where you have to be using different characters in order to clear the content, right? When you unlock two teams, it's the same, it might be the same thing, but now you have to think about two different teams, two different synergies, right? When you go into elemental towers, you have to use different characters to meet those same criteria and try to keep pushing. So it might be retextures. However, unlike Nikke or other idle games, I feel like the amount of push you have in order to actually use all of your roster is much bigger in this game.
Example, I just do not see the reason for Wormbane Ruins being a separate thing from the main story, besides making me stay in the game for longer.
Based.
It's fun for a couple of days, but then it becomes a chore. I think it would have been
Tell me about it. I play this thing like 5 hours a day. It's crazy.
more fun if the Ruins mode was more like a floor climb for every faction, and you progress like Elemental Echo, Wild Spirit, Arcane Wisdom, etc., up from floor 1
Did bro not play the game? Did he just did he not unlock that?
to whatever so you have, just so you get to use different units and gain
How long did he play for? Like 3 days?
a variety. As where it stands, it's just the same auto battler with the same unit getting MVP every round, which for me is Maryless.
Honestly, valid. If you don't get to the elemental towers and to the two teams, sure, it could start to get stale. But I feel like we unlock that like pretty quickly, right? Like day, like 4 or 5? I feel like we unlock those.
I just really do not like how the dupe system works in this game. It is a pain to constantly dupe the dupes,
It is very confusing at the start.
and then sometimes your units will say that they can be duped, but they really can't be,
Yeah, that fucking sucks. Whenever we have like the little red dot, that annoys me.
because it wants you to use a SSR character to promote your main unit. It also makes pulling on the banner not as fun as I would hope it would, because if I
Yeah, you're not pulling on the banner for dupes. You have Worm Tower for that.
get a dupe of a character, I know after a while that means nothing because I have to dupe that dupe to dupe the actual
That's why you have slimes.
character. Due to that, pulling on the banner just doesn't get me excited as it does in other gacha games.
100% though, you always have to go to pity to get your characters. Like that's just a fact. I don't think I've ever gotten an SSR like before pity, which sucks. Pity is 50, but that sucks.
And even though this game is very generous with pulls, once you figure out you need to pull a character like 8 times, the fun part about
18.
the gacha goes away from me, which is really unfortunate, but this is more so because I am spending very few monies into this video game, and for
Very few monies. I love it. I personally have spent like $5.
a whale, this is actually probably a good dopamine hit, so this is really subjective, and from my point, I just don't like it as a light spender. Thirdly,
Light spender. Alright, I only did $5, and that was to get like one of the golden slimes at the beginning of like the first event that we got. And I feel like I got a lot of mileage out of my $5. I got Fenrir, a couple of pulls, and my golden slime. I was pretty happy with just that.
this is sort of a slop anime mobile game.
Based.
And there's nothing necessarily wrong with being a slop gacha. I love them, just like how I enjoy McDonald's every now and then. The problem with this is essentially every gacha game that came out in 2025 was also a slop gacha. All of 2025, people talked about how Neverness to Everness and Arknights were just around the corner, and they never came. Well,
And then Arknights came and it's garbage.
Arknights Infield is coming out in like a day. That's right, possibly the greatest anime PC game of all time.
The greatest anime PC game, he says.
Is coming out in like less than 48 hours. As Arknights is the greatest anime mobile game to ever be churned out, I am absolutely ecstatic for Infield. I have waited so long,
Good for
and
him.
it is almost here. The filet mignon
The
of
fl-
gacha.
the filet mignon of gacha. Jesus, this is probably how I sounded before Casey or Nightmare came out, before they completely wrecked that game.
If you expect me to keep eating McDonald's when filet mignon is around the corner, well, you're crazy, bro. So I'm putting up Dragon Traveler, and I'll be playing Arknights Infield for the near future.
I mean, valid. At the end of the day, super valid. There's people that we like Taco Bell, right? And he likes to go to the actual Mexican place. Totally valid. But yeah, I just saw some of his comments that were kind of telling him like, hey, you didn't really get through the game. I mean, the fact that he didn't even get to the elemental towers, right? I mean, that just comes to show that he didn't really play the game that much. But I feel like there's a lot of enjoyment. Again, if you are thinking of potentially dropping the game as well because you saw this video and you're like, oh, I don't need McDonald's. Just have you know that yes, it is a very casual AFK game, but it does get pretty in-depth. It is pretty generous, all things considered, right? I mean, if you want to be free to play, if you want to be a whale, bro, I saw Free to Play Soul had a video with a whale. He spent like 400 or 500 bucks to get a unit, and he couldn't even get it to like Red Star or something. I was like, what the hell are we doing here? That was kind of scary. It's completely up to you if you want to quit the game. I just think that, you know, True Evil didn't give the game a really fair shot to get to the really good content where we start to get some more diversity, etc., right? So, I mean, it is what it is, True Evil. Hard to see you go. And if this video, you know, saves anybody from continuing to play the game, cool beans for me. Definitely make sure to subscribe and check out True Evil's video as well.